The rain hammered the streets of New York like 1,000 angry fists. Alex Rivera hunched his shoulders against the downpour, his mind on his son Noah waiting at home with the babysitter. Then he saw him, the man who owned the company where he worked, Marcus Hale, the CEO, collapsed in the gutter, soaked and unconscious. Alex froze for a split second. He had only seen Marcus from a distance at company town halls, the tall, commanding figure in tailored suits who had built Hale Tech into one of the most respected names in cybersecurity. Now that same man lay vulnerable, expensive wool coat ruined, tie loosened, face pale under the streetlight. Alex rushed forward, kneeling in the puddle. "Mr. Hale? Can you hear me?" Marcus mumbled something incoherent, his breath sharp with whiskey. Alex checked for obvious injuries, found none, then slipped an arm under the CEO's shoulders. The man was heavier than he looked, dead weight from the alcohol and the cold. No taxis braved the storm, and calling an ambulance would mean flashing cameras and headlines by morning. Alex made the only call he could. His apartment in Brooklyn was just 4 blocks away. He half-carried, half-dragged Marcus through the rain, the CEO's arm draped over his shoulders, their steps splashing in unison. By the time they reached the narrow walk-up, both men were drenched. Alex fumbled with his keys, got the door open, and lowered Marcus onto the old couch in the living room. He grabbed towels, stripped off the worst of the wet layers from the CEO, and covered him with a thick blanket. Noah slept soundly in the next room, unaware of the stranger now occupying their small space. Alex changed into dry clothes, made coffee he did not drink, and sat in the worn armchair across from the couch. His heart would not slow down. What if Marcus woke up disoriented and angry? What if this one act of kindness cost him his job? He had fought too hard for stability. After losing his partner 3 years ago, Alex had adopted Noah alone, facing down skeptical social workers and his own conservative family in Texas who still prayed he would change. One wrong move and custody could slip away. Morning arrived gray and quiet. Marcus stirred, groaning as he pushed himself upright. His dark hair stuck up in every direction, and his eyes, bloodshot but sharp, scanned the modest apartment, the toys in the corner, the single framed photo of Alex and Noah on the shelf. "Where am I?" His voice came out rough. "You're in my apartment, Mr. Hale," Alex said, keeping his tone steady as he handed over a glass of water and 2 painkillers. "I found you last night on 7th Avenue. You were in bad shape. I couldn't leave you there." Marcus swallowed the pills, then stared at Alex for a long moment. Recognition clicked. "Alex Rivera, Senior Analyst Operations Team. You presented on supply chain vulnerabilities last quarter." He rubbed his temples. "I owe you more than I can say. If the press had found me like that." Alex shrugged, though his stomach twisted. "Anyone would have done the same." "No," Marcus said quietly. "They would not." He looked around again, noticing the small space, the evidence of a child. "You have a son?" "Noah. He's 6. Alex did not elaborate. The less the CEO knew, the safer they both stayed. Marcus stood slowly, testing his balance. "I need to get home and cleaned up before the board meeting. But this is not over. You saved me from a scandal that could have cost the company millions in reputation damage." He pulled a sleek black card from his wallet, the personal one with only his private cell. "Call me. Anything you need, Alex. I mean it." He left in the cab. Alex called, the door closing with a soft click that somehow felt louder than the rain had been. Alex leaned against the wall, exhaling. He had done the right thing. But as he watched the cab disappear into traffic, a quiet dread settled in his chest. Men like Marcus Hale did not enter lives like his without consequences. At work that afternoon, everything looked normal on the surface. Alex sat in his cubicle reviewing reports, but his mind kept replaying the night. When his boss stopped by to praise an unexpected budget approval that had been stalled for weeks, Alex knew. Marcus had already started repaying the debt. The next few days passed in uneasy quiet. Alex kept his head down, focusing on Noah's school project about community helpers and the endless laundry that came with single parenthood. He did not call the number on the card. Then on Thursday his phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. "This is Marcus. I would like to thank you properly. Coffee tomorrow? My treat. No pressure." Alex stared at the message for 10 minutes. Refusing felt rude after what he had done. Accepting felt dangerous. In the end he replied with a simple time and place, a small cafe near the office but far enough that colleagues were unlikely to spot them. Marcus arrived in a dark coat and jeans instead of a suit, looking more human than Alex had ever seen him. They sat in a corner booth. Marcus ordered black coffee. Alex chose tea. For the first few minutes they spoke of safe things, the weather, the latest product launch. Then Marcus leaned forward. "I have not stopped thinking about that night," he said. "Not because I was drunk, but because you helped without expecting anything. People around me always want something. Board seats, promotions, introductions. You just got me out of the rain." Alex stirred his tea. "I have a son. I know what it feels like when the world sees you at your lowest. I would not wish that on anyone." Marcus's gaze lingered. "Tell me about Noah." The question surprised Alex, but he found himself answering. He described Noah's laugh, his obsession with dinosaurs, the way he asked hard questions about why he had two dads in the pictures but only one now. Marcus listened without interruption, something softening in his usually guarded expression. Over the following weeks Marcus found reasons to cross paths. A project Alex led suddenly received extra resources. An invitation arrived to a small leadership dinner, the kind reserved for rising talent. Each time Marcus was careful, professional in public. In private messages he asked about Noah's school play, sent a book on paleontology when Alex mentioned the dinosaur phase. One evening Marcus showed up at the apartment unannounced, holding a paper bag of takeout. "I was in the neighborhood," he said, though they both knew Brooklyn was not on his usual route. Noah, curious and unafraid, invited the tall stranger to see his toy collection. Marcus sat on the floor in his expensive trousers and helped build a Lego fortress, listening patiently while Noah explained the defenses. Later, after Noah went to bed, the two men stood in the kitchen. Marcus looked tired in a way that had nothing to do with work. "My life is scheduled down to the minute," he said. "Board meetings, mergers, a fiancé chosen for strategic alliances. I cannot remember the last time I sat on the floor and built something just because it was fun." Alex felt the pull, then the dangerous warmth of being seen. He stepped back. "Marcus, I appreciate everything, but I cannot afford complications. My family in Texas is already pushing for custody. They think a single gay man cannot raise a boy properly. One rumor and I lose him." Marcus nodded slowly, but his eyes held something new, something unresolved. "I understand. More than you know." He left, but the air in the apartment felt different afterward. Alex lay awake long after, staring at the ceiling, wondering how a single night in the rain had tilted his carefully balanced world. The pull between them grew despite every warning Alex gave himself. Marcus began appearing in small, safe ways. He joined them for a Saturday afternoon at the Natural History Museum, wearing a baseball cap and keeping his distance from cameras. Noah adored him, calling him Mr. Marcus, and asking when he would come back. Alex watched the way Marcus softened around the boy, the way his laugh came easier, and felt his own defenses cracking. One rainy evening, the kind that reminded Alex of the night they met, Marcus stayed late after dinner. They sat on the couch after Noah slept, talking about the pressures they carried. Marcus spoke of his father, the legendary founder who expected perfection and traditional success. He spoke of Victoria, the fiancée who was kind but whom he did not love, the merger her family brought that kept the company secure. "I have spent my whole life performing the version of myself the world demands," Marcus said, voice low. "Strong, decisive, straight. But when I woke up on your couch that morning, something shifted. For the first time I felt seen without the performance." Alex's throat tightened. "I am not a savior, Marcus. I am just a man trying to protect his child." Marcus reached across the space between them and took Alex's hand. The touch was gentle, questioning. "I know, and I am terrified of what wanting this could cost us both. But I cannot pretend anymore." Their first kiss was hesitant, born of months of quiet longing rather than passion. Carried the weight of every risk, every consequence. When they pulled apart, Marcus rested his forehead against Alex's. I do not expect you to fix me. I just want the chance to stand beside you while we figure out what comes next. The weeks that followed brought stolen moments of joy. Marcus helped coach Noah's soccer team under a false name. Alex cooked simple meals and watched the CEO learn to relax. Yet the shadows lengthened. Alex's mother called from Texas, her voice tight with disapproval. We hear things, Alejandro. People talk. If you bring that man around Noah, we will have to reconsider what is best for our grandson. At work, a jealous colleague noticed the extra attention Marcus paid to Alex's projects and began asking questions. Marcus's own team sensed the change in their usually distant leader. The internal conflict tore at both men. Alex lay awake wondering if he was being selfish, risking his son's future for a connection that might not survive the real world. Marcus questioned every decision that had built his empire, wondering if the price of authenticity was too high. The first public crack appeared in a gossip column. A blurry photo of Marcus and Alex leaving the museum with Noah surfaced online, captioned with speculation about the CEO's new friend. Victoria confronted Marcus in his office, her composure cracking for the first time. I always knew this arrangement was business, she said. But I thought there was at least respect. If you are going to humiliate me, at least be honest. Marcus did not deny the growing truth. He offered her an out from the engagement, generous terms, but the damage spread. Her family threatened to pull funding from the merger. The board called an emergency meeting, questioning Marcus's judgment and stability. Alex faced his own storm. His parents flew to New York unannounced, demanding to see Noah. In the small living room, they laid out their case. This lifestyle is not stable, his father said. The boy needs a mother figure, a traditional home. We have spoken to a lawyer. We can provide that. Alex stood his ground, voice shaking but firm. Noah is happy. He is loved. I will fight you with everything I have. Marcus tried to shield him, offering legal help through the company's resources, but Alex refused. I cannot owe you more than I already do. This has to be my fight. The pressure built. At work, Alex was passed over for a promotion everyone expected him to receive. Colleagues whispered. One afternoon, a board member stopped Marcus in the hallway. Fix this, Hale. The stock dipped 2 points on the rumors. We cannot afford a scandal. Marcus came to Alex that night, exhausted. I am tired of hiding, but every time I think about coming out publicly, I see the company my father built crumbling. I see your custody case becoming national news. I see Noah caught in the middle. They held each other on the couch, the weight of choices pressing down. Alex traced the line of Marcus's jaw. Whatever you decide, I will not ask you to destroy what you have built. But I cannot live half a life either. The confrontation with Marcus's father came next. The elder Hale arrived at the penthouse, face thunderous. I did not raise you to throw away everything for a weakness. End it, or I will remove you as CEO myself. Marcus stood tall for the first time in years. This is not weakness, Dad. This is the first honest thing I have done in decades. The betrayal came from inside. A mid-level executive who had long resented Marcus leaked documents and photos to the press, framing the relationship as favoritism and moral failure. Headlines exploded. Tech billionaire's secret gay affair threatens empire. Stock prices plunged. The board demanded Marcus step aside temporarily. Alex's custody hearing turned brutal. His parents' lawyer used the media storm as evidence of instability. The judge, though sympathetic, ordered a full evaluation. Noah, sensing the tension, began having nightmares. Marcus made the hardest decision of his life. He called a press conference. Standing alone at the podium, he spoke clearly. I have spent years building this company on integrity. Today, I choose to live with the same integrity in my personal life. I am gay. Alex Rivera is the man I love. He saved me in more ways than one, and I will not hide that anymore. The move cost him dearly. Several major clients pulled contracts. His father publicly disavowed him. Victoria, to her credit, released a graceful statement wishing him well, but the damage was done. Alex and Marcus faced the consequences together. They moved Noah to a new school to escape the stares. Alex took a leave from the company to focus on the custody battle. Nights were filled with long talks about what they had lost and what they had gained. Marcus sold personal assets to fund legal defense and to keep the company afloat under new leadership he helped install. The lowest point came when Alex's parents won temporary supervised visitation. Noah cried when they took him for the weekend. Alex broke down in Marcus's arms. "I saved you that night in the rain, but maybe I destroyed my son's security in the process." Marcus held him tight. "We will fight, and if we lose everything else, we still have each other. That has to be enough." Months of legal battles and rebuilding followed. Marcus stepped down as CEO but retained a board seat after proving his value in crisis management. The company stabilized under new leadership that respected the culture he had built. Alex won full custody after character witnesses, including former colleagues and Noah's teachers, testified to the stable, loving home he provided. His parents, faced with the reality of Noah's happiness and the cost of prolonged fighting, eventually withdrew. The two men built a new life in a quieter neighborhood, a house with a backyard where Noah could play. Marcus started a foundation supporting LGBTQ youth in tech, channeling his loss of power into purpose. Alex returned to work in a different division, free from the shadow of favoritism. Their love was not the fairy tale version. It carried scars, compromises, and the knowledge of what they had sacrificed. Family ties remained strained. Marcus's father had not spoken to him in a year. Alex's parents sent cards on holidays but kept their distance. Yet in the quiet evenings, when Noah was asleep and the two men sat on the porch watching the city lights, they found peace. One night Marcus turned to Alex. "Do you ever regret pulling me out of that rain?" Alex smiled, the kind of smile that had first cracked Marcus's walls. "Never, but I know the price we both paid, and I would pay it again." They had learned that love, real love, demanded everything and gave back something deeper than comfort. It demanded truth, courage, and the willingness to stand in the storm together. In the end, after all the betrayals, the sacrifices, and the awakenings, was it right for a gay single dad to save a drunk CEO in the rain when the rescue ultimately upended two families, a company, and years of carefully built stability? Or was the cost of that one compassionate act simply too high? What would you have done?